Hello my friends, I'm glad you made it today. Today we're going to be going over chapter 1 of our recovery from PSTD or childhood abuse or overcoming the things of this world, and it's all based on the book of Revelation. And today we'll be going over step 1, and it's 12 steps or 12 chapters or whatnot to overcoming these things. That's the thing. It's not just a one step to the process. It's a process to being made or being reborn again. And it's not like any AA 12-step program or any of that. This is just purely comes all from the Bible, and it's basically the unveiling of the book of Revelation and how God is wanting to coat us in a coat of many colors. Same for Joseph, same like a pearl, and again, same for us today. And so, in chapter 1 or step 1 would be restoring spiritual faith, and it's the jasper stone, and that's what that represents. You know, we're not talking about gems and jewels or stones that are, you know, can be found in the river or whatnot, but these are spiritual things, and these are gifts from God. So when we're praying to God and we want to ask God for spiritual gifts, these are the things we want to have wisdom and understanding of, is what these things mean. So when we're talking about restoring our spiritual faith, we're talking about restoring things that are broken or lost, have been taken away, and that happens usually through abuse in our lives, whether it be as children or adults. And the way I see it is, if the human race is the children of God, then we're all being abused by the devil each and every day. Watching television, things of that nature, abusive television shows, things of war, things of murder, and that's witnessing abuse on somebody else. And you notice I got colored fingers because I was working on my coat of many colors, and it's a teaching tool for everybody, and I'll show you that in the next video. But so what we're talking about when we come to Jesus and we're gonna get baptized, we're making a confession, body, mind, and soul, that we were once dead and now we're alive. What we were doing was causing death, pain, and suffering, and a lot of it is listening to the lies of the devil. So if the abuser comes to us as children and begins to tell us a lie, whether it be we're worthless or useless or we don't matter, any of these things, we can believe that. And when we're put into a state of weakness, and that's the thing, how the devil works, is uses a time in our life when tragedy may be, or we're in a spot of weakness. You know, he uses that as a foothold to plant his lie, and then be able to make us believe that lie. Now, maybe we go through life and we don't even understand what it was. You know, I wasn't abused. I was just raised, you know, by the rod, you know, or whatever it may have been. Some people experience sexual abuse. Some children experience neglect, things of that nature. And neglect is really bad because it leaves you feeling very worthless. And later in life, these effects of all these different abuses hang with us. You know, like I say, I didn't know I was being abused. I just thought that's how we raised children, so that's how I raised my children. And on down the line, and all the while living in a state of abuse. Some of the things of the effects we have when we're being abused as children is we lose our self-worth. You know, we later in life trying to get our self-worth from other people, especially people who were neglected. This is one of the effects. Some of the effects of childhood abuse children, they're told they're stupid or they're dumb, and then they believe that. And it's like they overcompensate trying to prove to the world, or their buddies or friends or co-workers, that they're not dumb. And you see this by how they tell stories. You tell a fishing story, this person comes in and they're always one-upping you on their story. Or whatever you say, they're always trying to prove to you how smart they are, or how wise they are, or how wonderful their stories are, or whatever it is. All these things are signs of abuse. And when we look in the book of Revelations, we see the first thing we see in there is Jesus begins to identify the devil, right? Or the abuse, or the abuser, the wrath of God. He's identifying these things. And that's the thing in our life, we sometimes don't want to identify or confess that a lot of our problems is we've been believing a lie. And one of the words and the things that the devil wants to use for us, and I know you say, boy, you're not, I wrote the book, and trust me, this is exactly what it says. I just went through this last night with the children. I had 4 18-year-olds here, and we read through it, and each of them got to read their own page in that. And it has an effect. It is powerful, especially when you're reading it yourself, and the way you can see the power is how it has an impact. It speaks to the individual, the reader, and but anyway, I want you to understand some of the part of confessing is, that I was listening to the devil. So the devil uses the words of, like, I can't, and he'll put in and instill into you the word I can't, and then all of a sudden you begin to believe it. Oh, I can't overcome this problem, or I can't, be like Johnny, class president, or whatever it is. But the difference between the president of the United States and us is this guy believed that he could. And that's the only difference. And that's what Jesus comes to give us, is tools, instructions. So if we have tools, then we begin to work the tools. Tools are made for working. You take a screwdriver and you put it to the screw and you turn it, and the screw goes in. So we got to take this stuff and use it. And one of the things the devil's going to use is the I can't. And if I can't is powerful in your house, maybe that's everybody in your home uses the word I can't. And so you got to identify. With Jesus Christ, we can do all things, and we're enabled to do all things that Jesus enables us to do. One of the things we gotta do, we gotta see when every time the word I can't comes in the house, you gotta attack that. And even if your neighbor or your friend or a family member comes in to say, and they say, oh, and they're in a conversation and they say, I can't, you stop them right there. No, you can. And then you turn their conversation into encouragement instead of discouragement. That's what the devil wants to do, is discourage us and break us down. So that's our fight. It's not against flesh and blood or other people, but these words, thoughts, and memories that the devil uses. So one of the things in my life was memories, using memories of bad past, bad relationships, whatever it was, your failures, to use that against us. So the more failures we got, the more memories we got, or abusive memories, those things, they come in to hurt us. And that's the thing, like the devil, man, he uses his words, I can't, like a snake bite, and it's just a simple word. And all of a sudden that bite begins to grow and faster, and all your whole arm is now doubled in size and aching out. And from I can't, that turns into I don't, right? And then all of a sudden, I don't matter, nobody cares, I don't care, and these things. And then all of a sudden we're searching for help from other people, and things. Doctors give us pills and different stuff to help us along our way, and nothing helps. Nothing fulfills our heart's desire to have a life full of joy and happiness, because the devil is constantly wanting to take that away. He starts with, I can't. You can't have joy. You can't have happiness. You can't have a better job. You can't have these things. And then you begin to believe it. Because why? I don't matter. I'm not important. I don't measure up. And all those things are lies planted by the devil that are trying to overcome and take your hope and faith, joy, peace, and happiness away. So, one of the things we got to do is recognize we've been listening to the devil. And it's not about just giving up drugs and alcohol and all these things, all throwing those away. And even though the effects of abuse lead us to a path of drugs and alcohol, seeking comfort, the deeper our abuse was, the further and deeper we go down a path of heavier drugs and alcohol, the further we go down seeking comfort, help, and in reality, those things just make us more sick, and it has an effect on everybody around us, and it creates depression, and from depression it creates oppression. We gotta admit, something's wrong, and what we've been doing isn't been working. So we're gonna make a change, and that's where in the Jewish religion they had the washing of the hands, and and Jesus says, oh, it don't matter if you wash the outside of the body or all of our body and all that, because our body is useless. It's about the spirit. So if we don't have the spirit there with us, guiding us along the way, which is Jesus, then all this stuff is worthless. It's not, and so that's what today is about, the washing of the hands. And that's saying, I've been listening to the devil, and he's been tricking me, and I was agreeing with him. I couldn't, I didn't, and all of a sudden it led me to a place of I won't. And then in that place of I won't is that rebellion. I won't do this, I won't listen, I won't. And all of a sudden, we're there in our life, and I know how I will get joy, how I will get happiness. If you would change, or if you would, because I won't, it's not me. And what we got to recognize is it's in us. And in us is I will. In us is I can. In us is all things are possible. And even if that means today is the only thing we've been enabled to do is pray, that's okay. That's what Jesus Christ enabled you to do. We got to completely eliminate what the I can'ts, and we got to turn our focus to what we can do. And we see with Jesus Christ, He can do all things. He can overcome all things, and He will enable us to do those things as well. We just have to be willing to be a part of that. A lot of times in our effects of being abused, we lose all our joy and our happiness. And that's because we're seeking joy and happiness through idols. An idol could be a person, a place, a thing, anything that we go to put into high esteem, that this is where I'm going to get my comfort from, my guidance from, my help from. And when those things begin to fail, we begin frustrated again. Frustrated, upset, angry, all those things. Because it is God who wants to be our provider, God who wants to take care of us. It is God who wants to be our Father. And so we got to learn that and confess that we were trying to get help and all these things from these other places except from God. So when we're going to wash our hands of that, what we're now going to say, I'm no longer going to use the words I can't, and it can't come into my house, and the words I don't, they're not allowed, and because I do matter. And I can, even if that means wake up. Just that's all God asked you to do, is I enabled you to wake up today and enjoy the sunshine, and that's it. You know, if you want to start anywhere, just start with one simple prayer in the morning, and that is, before you start your day, you know, Jesus Christ, do you remember me? That's plenty enough prayer, and that is what He's enabled you to do, and He will answer that. He will answer that. You know, one of the questions of it all is, how do we put our faith in an unseen God? And by the end of this book, I'm going to let you know that I don't have faith in an unseen God. My God is seen, known, felt, and touched. Can we see Him? That's the thing. Can we see Him? Can we recognize Him? And that's what we're going to identify, is what is love. And when love comes walking in the door, how do we know what that love is? How do we know what love looks like? Because sometimes the effects of being abused is I don't no longer know how to receive love, because I don't know what love is. You know, what things I thought were love all failed me and left me in a place of loneliness and frustration and anger. But I didn't really truly know what love was. And so that's the thing we're going to find out, is this laying down of our will for the will of God. Laying down our way, the wrong way, for the right way. God's way. And that's what that washing of the hands is cutting the ties, cutting the things that were hurting us. And that could be, you know, forgiveness, you know, the abuses and the things of people in our past. We gotta let it go. We're gonna cut it off and no longer allow them to have power over our lives today. We're not gonna let our past define our day today. We're not gonna allow 20, 30, 40, 10, 5 years ago define the person who is here today. We're not going to allow that to define tomorrow, but we're going to live in today. And that's a part of this thing, is coming back to the moment. You know, we're going to cut the ties. We're going to cut the power of those. So we're going to wash our hands clean of that stuff. And how we see how the washing on the hands has worked, the chains have been broken, is when the next generation or your children are no longer being abused. When we have now put away, I can't, the way of you're good for nothing, to put away the lies and begin to take up the truth. And we're going to begin to put to practice God's word. We're going to begin to put to practice prayer. How do I see an unseen God? Well, first of all, ask Him to be seen, and He may answer you. Ask Him for wisdom, and He'll give you wisdom. You know, we begin praying and turning our life to God. First fruits go to God. That means first thing in the morning, turn your life to God. It's not, let me tell you what I'm going to do today, God, and agree with me. It's, here I am, an open vessel for your will. I'm here for this beautiful day. And whatever you've enabled me to do, Father, I'm going to be a willing part of that. Maybe today, all I can do is get up and go to the door and peek outside and look at the world. Because that's the thing, is in the world today we become so afraid that we become oppressed and depressed by the things we're watching and seeing. Because if we watch and see a lot of television, it's all murder, hate, anger. All those things are depressing. We don't even see it as abuse anymore. That's Thursday night television. But in reality, it's abuse, and it's abusive to anybody who's watching it. It distorts your mind to think that this stuff is acceptable and okay. And in the end, all of a sudden in our houses, we're talking and acting like one of those people. And then we wonder why our house and our families and that begin to come unraveled or whatever it may be. And it's because we lose focus. that God is in our presence. So all of it, what is our spiritual faith in? That God is in our presence. In our presence. Not in outer space, not in heaven. God is the Holy Spirit with us in our presence. And so we got to acknowledge God being in our presence. And we wonder sometimes why we're having bad effects or bad things happening in our life. And it's because we're not acknowledging God in our presence. And God loving us rebukes us and corrects us and turns us back to Him always. And so that's the part I want to acknowledge. We have a thing I've got set up to do a hand washing and to show and explain a little bit about the hand washing and how let's put a little bit of these tools to practice. Okay, so I'm going to wash my hands, and we can do this over and over because every morning is a new day. And we can start over every day. Yesterday what was it? Horrible day, but good news is when I died with yesterday, and today is all I have. So in reality, and we have right now. And right now we have the presence of the God. I'm not guaranteed tomorrow. I'm not guaranteed this evening. I'm only guaranteed right now. And right now, the presence of the living God is with us. So let us confess that God is with us. So that's a part of the washing of the hands. I got some great special stuff, some sea salt from Israel. And I got a wonderful story about that this years and years ago. I was at the mall at Christmas time, and there's this young lady that was there, and she was from Israel, and because she told me this, and I noticed she had